Well, there we go, my friends. Our recording has started, so we're going to put this into the wonderful archives of Nexel exciting events. This is Bob Torsi. I want to welcome everybody to the Thursday night presentation. Unlike our usual company overviews, tonight's a special presentation. Many of you have heard from Dr. Larry McCleary already, but I want to share my enthusiasm over the fact that tonight is the first in a series of product discussions that we're going to present to the group. And we're still working on the format. We just want to get it right because it's going to be duplicated over time. So we want to thank everybody who's supporting the call as always. We've always got special people that we call new reps on the phone. And we're going to introduce Dr. Larry to you. To assist in that great introduction is my friend and member of the executive team, Janet Henshaw. She's got her responsibilities going on in San Angelo, Texas. Janet will give you about a minute of that before she introduces Dr. McCleary, and then we'll have some fun. Maybe we'll even learn something. And at the end, I'll get back and we'll close up the call. So, Janet, what do you say you take it away?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Bob. What a wonderful way to start a Thursday evening. Tonight, I want to share just a tiny bit about San Angelo, Texas. We have opened our corporate store. We've got a corporate training center, and all sorts of wonderful things are happening there. I hope as we progress through this month and into next month, you start seeing and hearing some of the latest and greatest. But right now, I would like to take the time to talk to you a little bit about Dr. Larry McCleary, a special man who has worked hard all of his life and dedicated himself to learning more and educating people about the opportunities that we have with health. What is health? Health is you taking control and charge of your life, taking control of your body by what you put into it and understanding what that is. And there is no one better in the world to talk to you about that other than Dr. Larry McCleary. He's written 3 books. He was a neurosurgeon at the Denver Children's Hospital. He has done so many amazing things, and now he comes to us with this incredible opportunity of these amazing products. More than that, Dr. Larry is special. He is here to help you understand what these incredible products are that he has actually formulated and put together with Arup. Arup is a scientist, but tonight we're going to hear from Dr. Larry. So Dr. Larry, would you like to come on and share just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, Janet. It's great to be on the call. Looking forward to it. And I think, we're all special. We're all on this planet to achieve something, and I think we're all trying to figure out just what that is. As Janet said, I was a pediatric neurosurgeon, and during my clinical practice time, I got interested in the impact that nutrition had on brain health. We were using some nutrients on children who had serious head injuries and other brain conditions, and we were amazed at the responses these very sick children had to the provision of nutritional support. And that led to the development of products that their parents started using. They were favorably impressed, and that really got me interested in the field of nutritional medicine and nutrition and metabolism. And I have written a number of patents for nutritional products, developed supplements, developed a line of medical foods, and have gotten into actually how we can overlap some of the benefits of these nutritional products that I've already developed with the whole cannabinoid revolution that we're experiencing today. And we're at the beginning of that. I think that's going to be very interesting in allowing people to take control of their health and keep their bodies well. So the collaboration that we're developing with NextCell is something that we're all very excited about and passionate about. So thank you, Janet.
You are so amazing. When you are talking about the cannabinoids, some of the questions that we've gotten, I just would like to share a couple of those, and maybe you could answer those real quickly, and then we'll go into a couple of your products. But the first one that comes up quite a bit is, does CBD replace or activate the body's natural cannabinoids?
Well, that of just about any question you can ask, Janet, that's maybe the most complicated one scientifically. So let me provide an answer and try to support that. So before we get into the question per se, what is the cannabinoid system in our body? Well, we have a hardwired cannabinoid system in our brain, our nerves, and through many of the organs in our body, such as the liver, the heart, the intestines, and some of the immune cells, like the white blood cells in our body. They have cannabinoid receptors on them, and there are two primary types, CB1 and CB2, and there are cannabinoids that bind to those and produce the physiologic effects that everybody's reading about. So that's the cannabinoid system that we're talking about. The body makes its own cannabinoids, but there are also plant sources of cannabinoids that bind and interact with the cannabinoid system that we have in our body, and those are called phyto for plant, phytocannabinoids. So CBD is one of the compounds from the marijuana plant, which if you ingest can have an impact on this cannabinoid system. Now, does it replace the cannabinoids that our body makes? No, it doesn't do that. Can it activate the cannabinoid system? Well, I think scientists are trying to figure that out, but let me tell you what it can do that's kind of interesting. With any system like this, cannabinoids are released by the body, they have an effect, and then they're broken down. Then they're released again, have an effect, and they're broken down. When you decrease the breakdown arm of that arc, levels of cannabinoids rise. And one thing CBD does is it slows down the breakdown of cannabinoids that the body normally makes. So by taking CBD, that's like floating your boat higher. It allows the cannabinoids that your body makes to build up more and to last longer, which is really an amazing feat. Another thing that it does, I mean, a lot of you probably have read about taking THC or smoking marijuana and getting high. And one problem that a number of people have with that is they can feel a little paranoid or uncomfortable in their own skin. And CBD can tamp that response down at the CB1 receptor. So it kind of allows, the pleasurable part of THC to occur without these kind of weird side effects. And the third impact that CBD has on the system is it acts on receptors that have parallel functions with the cannabinoid system, and they have kind of an alphabet type name. Like these receptors, if you read about them, are called GPR55 or TRPV1 or PPAR. They're this slurry of other receptors that work in tandem with the cannabinoid pathways, and CBD turns those on to kind of turbocharge the cannabinoid system, and that's believed to be really an important part of this complex effect that you get when cannabinoids work together. So that was a complicated question, but those are some of the effects CBD has on our cannabinoid system.
Well, maybe it was complicated for you, but we got to hear the result, which actually came out really beautifully. So we appreciate you taking the thought and having the scientific knowledge to be able to explain it in such a beautiful way. One question that we're getting quite a bit is CBD addictive?
Great question, because we're all kind of in the CBD business here. So the short answer is that's been looked at, and it's been looked at by many bodies, but the World Health Organization has looked at it in a number of ways. They have given healthy individuals, doses of CBD, and there are addiction scales that you can measure after someone gets a dose of CBD, and they have a name. They're called the Addiction Research Center Inventory Scales, and those showed no evidence of addictive potential. There's another way that the World Health Organization looked at it, and that had to do more with, instead of down in the nitty-gritty looking at biochemical pathways, it looked at the impact on the brain and mood and behavior, because there are addictive behaviors. And when they did that, they found no addictive behaviors, mood changes, or anything else like that. So looking at it from both those two perspectives, the micro and the macro, the World Health Organization, which is has a lot of credibility, has found no addictive potential for CBD. And they even used pretty large doses. I mean, a lot of the products out there have 5, 10, 15 milligrams of CBD in them. I mean, to do some of these studies, they gave subjects 600 or 700 milligrams a day for a number of weeks. So if a large dose probably was not addictive, a smaller dose certainly wouldn't be either. So it's pretty safe to say that it has no or low addictive potential.
Wow, you are just such a world of knowledge. What about side effects of CBD? Do you feel that there are any?
Let me talk about two aspects of that question. I mean, if you take CBD, most people don't have any side effects. If you take a little bit more, some people can have loose stools or diarrhea. Some people will get dry mouth. If you take more, some people have had lightheadedness or even kind of blacked out because they had low blood pressure. CBD can affect blood pressure if you take enough of it. But most of those are pretty mild and self-limiting. So I don't think many people get too activated or upset by those. But there are a few things that you do need to know about CBD. When CBD goes into the system, your body kind of breaks it down, okay? And where does that happen? That happens in an organ called the liver. There are metabolic processes in the liver that kind of dismantle CBD so that you pee it out in the urine or poop it out in your stool. CBD slows down these breakdown pathways, and they don't just break down CBD, they break down things like alcohol. They break down, this same pathway breaks down or metabolizes a number of drugs. And if you slow down the way the body metabolizes or breaks down drugs, levels of those drugs in the body can rise. And some of the drugs that can be involved are pretty common. They're blood thinners like warfarin or Coumadin. So if you take a high enough dose of CBD, the Coumadin levels and the blood thinning effect can go up. The same thing is true for statin type drugs, chemotherapy, and even epilepsy drugs. So you do have to be a little bit careful. Now it's dose related. So if you're taking 500 or 600 milligrams of CBD a day, these really are potential problems that you need to discuss with your doctor. If you're taking, 40 milligrams, 30, 20, 10, something like that, they're worth knowing about, mentioning to your doctor, but they're probably not going to have any of these effects that cause a change in levels of these potent drugs in your body. But that drug metabolizing effect that CBD has, people need to be aware of.
Fabulous. Just a wealth of knowledge one more time. You are just absolutely incredible. And tonight, I would like for you to share with us about two of the newest products that we are going to be bringing to Nexel, the first of the month. And the first one being Lucidol. And we know that that is your name, and we are going to be changing the name with Nexel to Focus. But that's not going to happen the first round. We know that's going to happen the second time we place an order and then the labels will be changed. But at this point, could you tell us a little bit about why and what this product will do for all of our people on the phone tonight?
Yeah, let me just provide some perspective first. When I got interested in nutrition and making food choices and things like that, and then secondarily how that affected our health, a lot of it had to do with going to a grocery store and picking items to put in your shopping cart. Well, if you looked at what we ate 10,000 years ago, there were maybe 3,000 different sources of food available to people who lived at that time. Now, the average grocery store, they have a lot of brands, but if you look at the selection of foods, there are probably 300 foods. So the selection we have now is about 1/10 what it used to be. And that's important because a lot of the things we ate back then were things we gathered from plants, plant leaves, roots, and stems, things like that. So why is that important? Well, a lot of the nutrients in plants that are beneficial for humans were things that protected plants from predators or threats to their existence, such as bacteria, fungi, yeast, insects, extremes of temperature, desiccation, not enough water, and so forth. So these plant nutrients, if you eat them, they have a bitter taste. Now, why would they have a bitter taste? Well, if you don't want to be chewed on by an insect, you would make things that tasted bad. Well, as it turned out, these chemical warfare means that plants made to protect themselves had a lot of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. So they are really beneficial for humans. But our universe of nutrients and foods that provide them is 1/10 what it used to be. And they're really important for the brain because the brain has a lot of delicate fats in it. And so we need an array of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. So if you look at the ingredients in Lucidol, there are about 15 or 20 antioxidants. And they're, just to name a few, they're vitamin A, beta-carotene, lutein, cryptozanthine, astaxanthin, lycopene, vitamins C, E, lipoic acid, CoQ10, resveratrol, pine bark, grapeseed extract, green tea extract. I could go on and on. But we've taken all of these plant nutrients and mixed them together in the right amount and the right proportion to really keep your brain from going rancid. And that's what happens when it ages. So that is one approach that we use to preserve brain health that a poor diet puts you at risk for. But Lucidol is much more than that. That's kind of just getting your foot in the door. I think on a prior call we talked about, this has been all over the news, a lot of media sources are talking about sleeping medications and the enhanced risk of Alzheimer's disease. And if you look at that, it's not just sleeping medications, it's a number of pharmaceuticals and over-the-counter meds that lower levels of acetylcholine in the body. And acetylcholine is the memory neurotransmitter. And if you use these products and levels of the memory neurotransmitter decrease in your brain, what is the commonest symptom of dementia? Memory loss. So what did we do to make Lucidol or focus even more important for the brain? We have an array of nutrients in Lucidol that actually increase memory neurotransmitters. And those nutrients are things like huperzine, choline, phosphatidylcholine, betaine, and acetyl-L-carnitine. And they all work together as a network to boost the memory transmitter. Diabetes and blood sugar, a big deal. That's a huge risk factor for memory loss and other brain issues. And we have a number of nutrients in Lucidol to stabilize blood sugar. You're going to call your product Focus. That's huge. One of the major things people are concerned about is the ability to focus, but not just focus, but focus in a sustained period of time, continued focus, and you need that to work and be productive. So we have a number of nutrients in Lucidol, which will be Focus, that have been shown to improve attention and focus. And they're, again, huperzine, compound named DMAE, and creatine. Creatine is the same nutrient that muscle builders use because it powers muscles. Well, it also powers brain cells. And some of these processes we actually tested in a test that measured focus and concentration, and it provided a potent boost to focus and concentration. So, you know, this is a product that approaches the brain from many different directions. As I said, it's been clinically tested, and we also, when we tested human beings, it improved learning, okay? And just for chuckles, although we didn't expect this, we tested mood parameters of anxiety and depression, and this product enhanced benefits for those two mood parameters. So, I mean, it's an all-around brain booster that's based on the nutrients that are missing from most diets.
Wow.
So I think you're going to have, and you really notice an effect pretty soon. You know, after you start taking it, just within a few days, you will. I mean, a number of people told me they think of words that they wouldn't have thought of before. Or if they're watching an old movie, they'll know the name of that old movie star. So it's the effects are amazing, and sometimes even if you don't notice it, your family will notice it. I mean, I get that all the time. You know, the kids of older people who take this product say, wow, mom or dad is a different person now. They're much more socially engaged. They can watch a movie or a TV show and know what's going on. So science really is helpful for the brain, and it's a product that's worked, is safe, and has been tested. So we're really excited about it.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I know that you've taken your own product because the way your brain works is absolutely amazing. You have the ability to move and manipulate around different things to be able to give us the most incredible layman's terms of how it works. So we really appreciate that. And now there's one other product I'd like you to share about tonight, and that's Bonexi. And I know that you created this bone product with a lot of thought and love behind it. And the reason that we've named it iron is because of the strength and what iron actually means. And so I'd love for you to give us a little example about that as well.
Well, again, this is a product that was developed to address a very common problem. There are about 50 million Americans who have low bone density, weak bones, or they have fractures called fragility fractures because their bones are weak. People are living longer. The older you are, in general, the weaker your bones. But it's not just a problem of old people. As we grow, you go through a period where you put on bone mass, you put on muscle mass, you gain some fat mass, and at about age 25 or 30, you achieve what's called peak bone mass. And peak bone mass is as massive and strong as your skeleton will be at any time in your life. And that's an important thing to remember because from about age 25 or 30 on, you stop accreting bone mass and you start losing bone mass. So that's the best it gets, and then it's downhill from there. And if you don't achieve peak bone mass, it can really affect bone health in the future. Just one statistic: if you're 20% lower than your expected peak bone mass at age 28, that doubles the incidence of fractures in your 60s. So it's a big deal. So this is a problem not just of older people, but young people who are building a peak bone mass. And I can tell you, if you look at a lot of young girls who have eating disorders or people eating a lot of junk food, that is the worst thing you can do to achieve peak bone mass. So Bonexid or iron is designed to reverse all of those nutritional issues and their impact on bone. And so how does that work? Well, we've talked about diet. One thing that a bad diet of the type that Westerners eat is it generates a lot of acid day after day after day. The body needs no acid. It needs to be kind of neutral. So if you eat a diet that generates acid, what happens? Well, the body buffers or neutralizes it. How does it do that? Bone is the biggest reservoir of acid buffering nutrients in the body. So if you eat a diet that generates acid, that pulls these buffering nutrients out of bone, neutralizes the acid. But the story, you know what, it doesn't end there, because as these buffers come out of bone, they passively draw calcium with them, and then your body pees the calcium out in the urine. So the diet has a major impact on bone loss. What is the solution? Well, iron, the name of your new product, will contain all of these buffers that normally live in bone, so they neutralize the acid. And what does that mean? It means that they don't have to come out of bone, and they won't pull calcium out with them. And it sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, but we actually tested it in the toughest population, that is postmenopausal women. The first decade after menopause, women lose 10% of their skeletal mass. So they're a tough group to work with. The ingredients in the product you're going to be selling for bone health were used in a 6-week trial. Now you might think, how does bone change in 6 weeks? Well, we measured the amount of calcium that was lost from bone that ended up going out in the urine in 6 weeks, and it was dramatically decreased. We also measured parameters of bone breakdown, and they were dramatically decreased. So it showed in 6 weeks, by taking this supplement, you can have major changes on bone health and calcium metabolism. And what's even more amazing is this product contained no calcium. So as my friend Lauren described it, it's kind of like the no calcium cure. So that's the product Bonexid, and it's really designed to help reverse changes of bad diet. And it does it in a way that is natural, that actually enhances how your body functions. So I think if you can tell someone you've got a supplement that doesn't contain calcium, that changes bone and bone health in 6 weeks, if that doesn't blow their mind, I don't know what will. So that's why I'm enthusiastic about Bonexid, and I'm thrilled you guys are going to be selling it.
Well, Larry, you are just absolutely amazing. And the one thing that I want to say here is that, these products that you have worked so hard to understand and create for us are going to benefit us in so many different areas. And I just appreciate what you've done, the hard work, all of your knowledge, where you have taken from doing surgeries on babies' brains to understanding and comprehending exactly how the body works and what it's lacking. And so I am so excited about our partnership and so excited about the opportunities for people to be able to get these. And I thank you so very much for being on the call tonight. We're going to do this for the next couple of Thursdays, and we're going to share just a couple of products each night and give people the information so that they too can get as excited as we are, Larry. And I thank you very much for all of that. And Bob, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Janet, for conducting that little discussion with the doctor, and to you, Dr. Larry. We really appreciate the enlightenment. I could listen to that.
Well, Bob, if
yes,
I could
sir.
just say one thing. I think, we have a great opportunity here because the number of chronic diseases in America increases each year as the population grows. And I think people are of a mindset where they're kind of getting sick of taking drugs. They want to take control of their own bodies. And with these products, I think people truly can start to take control of their health. And that, for me, is what's exciting, because we can touch a number of lives in meaningful ways. And I think that, for me, is the value of this collaboration.
Well, thank you, Larry. I'm as enthusiastic about that as you are. I'm graying myself, so I'm paying attention to everything that you have to say. And I have this terrible disdain for pharmaceuticals, so I'm a great candidate, which was the way I was going to close this discussion this evening. Steve has extended the 40% discount to all customers and all representatives until the end of the 28th of February, midnight. And it would be good for each of us to become a product of the product. We're going to go out there and spread the good word to everybody. And it would certainly be to our benefit if we all had our own story to tell. And there's only one way to do it. You got to get on the product. So we're still in the pre-order phase. So get your orders in there. We'll get them out as quickly as possible. Save the money. Get to experience what the products are going to do for us, and then we'll just take it to the market. This collaboration with Canogen and Doctor and the group there is going to be phenomenal. I mean, we've got the credibility behind us here, and it's just exciting to know that at least each week we'll get exposed to a little bit more information on each product, and we'll be better reps as a result, and better people, because we're going to help everybody as well. So once again, thank you, Janet. Thank you, Doctor. We look forward to our next meeting. We'll see everybody on Saturday at 10 o'clock Central, and you'll get the invitation. We're also going to send you the call-in link so you can hear Doctor again, or for that matter, share the conversation with somebody who's interested in hearing about it and wanting to try the product. So that is about it. We've been blessed again, and we look forward to hearing from you. So good night, everybody. You'll get an invitation in the next couple of days. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This session is no longer being recorded.